Day one sets the tone for safety, quality, and culture at your center. How well we introduce new team members to these concepts impacts their confidence and their effectiveness in the classroom. You're going to want to make sure that whoever you pair a new team member with, that they are going to model what you have been telling the new team member is the culture, the protocols, the processes of your program. After 40 years in childcare, I've experienced it all: the laughter, the challenges, and the burnout. I'm Debra Rinell, and I'm here to share the realities of childcare leadership with you. Starting as an unexpected entrepreneur facing the pressures of leadership, I've been through the same struggles that you are likely navigating today. More importantly, I discovered strategies to not just survive, but truly thrive in this rewarding field, and I'm ready to share it all with you. Ready to elevate your center and reignite your passion for childcare? Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Care and Connect, the Childcare Leadership Podcast, where we bring you insights, strategies, and stories from across the childcare industry. In today's episode, we're diving deep into a foundational part of the Care for method known as the staff journey. This is found within the administration quadrant, and we're going to explore how setting up a strong supportive staff experience from onboarding through professional development can create a motivated, engaged team, and in turn, a thriving childcare environment. A new hire's first day is also the start of a journey that shapes not just their own role, but the quality of experience for children, parents, and the broader community. How we support our team's journey directly influences how they support the children in their care. So today, we're going to discuss some of the major stages in the staff journey, and we'll include tools, strategies, and examples to make the process effective and rewarding for everyone involved. So starting with the first steps, the onboarding process. This is about a lot more than paperwork. It's about building a solid foundation. Day one sets the tone for safety, quality, and culture at your center. How well we introduce new team members to these concepts impacts their confidence and their effectiveness in the classroom. You're going to want to make sure that whoever you pair a new team member with, that they are going to model what you have been telling the new team member is the culture, the protocols, the processes of your program. Too often, new hires receive they get the information from the office, from the director, from those people in charge about how things work. And then they might get, you may say, a whole different orientation when they start working in a classroom. So you'll want to close that gap. You want to make sure that what you've told them is the way things are done, the culture, the expectations of your program, that when they step into the first classroom or any classroom that they start to work in those first 90 days, that they are finding confirmation of what you have told them. So onboarding isn't just about going through a list of process and rules or any of these other things. Onboarding is about making sure that there's no gap between what they're experiencing in the classrooms and what they were told was the way things work when they were in the office. You may want to introduce new hires to something called a 5-minute rule. And this suggests that within their first few minutes of interaction, they should be able to get a clear sense of both the work environment and your center's core values. This is one of the things that you and your existing team can work on in trainings and how to best make that more apparent to them when they first start. So the 5-minute rule isn't so much about the new hire doing something in the 5-minute rule. This is about the new hire's experience in the first 5 minutes when they meet other employees, other team members, when they first step into classrooms and so forth. So if within the first 5 minutes, they don't get a sense of, okay, yes, this is lining up with what I was told the center's core values are, then there's a disconnect in there somewhere. And so this is something that you and your team, you want to involve everybody on your team. So during your staff trainings or meetings, don't be afraid to raise this issue. Don't be afraid to talk about this. Don't be afraid to share with them what it is you're telling prospective new team members about the program and what it is you want them to experience. Your existing team wants you to bring on new team members who align with their core values and the program and its mission. Bringing on team members who are not aligned with those things is going to cause friction, and it's going to cause confusion for your new hires. So you want to be transparent with your existing team, and you want to make sure that the assistance you're bringing in to support them, right? When we're hiring new people for our team, it's to give the existing team more support. That can't happen if there is a disconnect between what the new hire is told the values and the culture of the program is and what they experience. Childcare management solutions, we encourage use of a program called FOCUS, which is an acronym for Family Outreach, Child Development, Unity of the Team, and Safety. And it's a guide to developing clear, meaningful KPIs, or as they're known, key performance indicators. If you're not using KPIs in your program, then you may have team members who are confused about what's expected of them. KPIs, what I like about them the most is that they take the guesswork out of the performance review. They take the guesswork for the employee out of what's expected of them, and they learn that they are being reviewed, their performance is being reviewed on things that are measurable. So they don't have to concern themselves with whether or not, they're the teacher's favorite assistant or these types of things. Those elements don't play into KPIs. KPIs are measurable. In childcare, they can feel a bit tricky because we're not measuring sales, but the quality of experiences. So in, say, if we were a car dealership, right? KPIs are going to be that they need to sell a certain percentage of cars on the lot or a certain percentage of used cars and things. Because in childcare, we don't deal so much with that, and performance reviews are really based on the quality of experiences that our families have. With the focus format, why we like it is because it helps you to develop specific actionable goals for each of the roles on your team. So for instance, a KPI for an early educator might be ensuring that 95% of their developmental observations are completed on time each week. Or it could be about maintaining a positive parent interaction score that are based on feedback forms from your families. One of the things that using KPIs in your childcare program can help both you and your team develop is a sense of evaluating things from a measurable standpoint. It's a powerful framework that aligns every role in your center with your broader mission by having clear metrics tied to the center's mission and values. Every team member knows exactly what success looks like and how their role contributes. It also opens doors to meaningful coaching sessions where staff can discuss their growth in relation to these KPIs. Let's just say, for example, that you're noticing an increase in child incident behavior. So you want to reduce that metric, right? You want to see these things not occurring as often. So you're going to take that as your base of this is the problem, or this is the thing that we want to ensure. You may not want to say problem. I tend to want to try to always take things and phrase it in a more positive light. So what you might want to say is that we want to improve on the number of child behavioral incidents that are occurring in our program. And by just making that statement, you can then open up the meeting with your team to brainstorming and collaboration on what are the ways we can measure that. And this is a life skill. I mean, for your team, for yourself, to be able to develop objectively is a real tool that can help you in other areas of your life. But being able to think about, okay, this is what we're trying to accomplish. How are we going to measure whether or not we've achieved that? And once you determine how you're going to measure it, then from there you can set the benchmarks of what is acceptable measurement. You know, how many behavioral incidents, let's say per week, is acceptable? What's not acceptable? What's in between acceptable and not acceptable? And you can tweak this as much as you want with brainstorming, and you can create percentages. You can use a percentage, you can use concrete numbers and values. There's any number of ways. And from there, you build out your KPI statement, and you have provided your team with a measurable goal. To support this, you may want to consider having monthly skill building workshops. So, for example, you could introduce a session on guiding challenging behaviors that includes role-playing scenarios by practicing responses to real-world situations so staff are better prepared and they feel a little bit more confident when challenges arise in the classroom. And if this is a part of your staff journey, where it's not just about the onboarding or the first 90 days, but it is their entire time with you, where you are constantly seeking to communicate clearly to them the expectations. Everyone has a level playing field as to what the outcomes and expectations are through the use of KPIs. And then also, they are involved in the brainstorming process for developing those KPIs, and then further involved in trainings and workshops in which they can develop skills to be better able to reach those performance goals that you've set in those KPIs. Another cornerstone of the staff journey is building community. Relationships among the staff members are just as important as the relationships they build with families. A cohesive team feels supported. And when a staff member feels supported, they're more likely to be engaged, to show up fully, and to invest in the center's mission. During the onboarding process, you want to encourage team activities like group lunches or team building games that helps the staff develop these relationships with one another. They're more than just social outings. They're opportunities to foster connection and build a shared culture. And when everyone knows and cares for each other, it's reflected in the care they give to their children. And I want to be really clear here. I wrote an article for Forbes Council once that I believe you can find on our LinkedIn page about whether or not you have a dream team or whether or not you have a toxic team. So when I talk about cohesiveness of the team, I'm talking about everyone. If you have a situation where only a few people are cohesive and there are people kind of on the fringe or people who aren't involved or ever invited to things at all, then you have a clique. You don't have a team. And you want to avoid having a clique. A clique is toxic. A clique excludes certain members of your program. And that shouldn't be something that you want in the culture of your program. One of the final steps in the staff journey is the continuous performance evaluation and feedback. It's not about criticism, but about continuous alignment and growth. The KPIs you've set up at the beginning give you a concrete foundation for the performance discussions. Monthly or quarterly feedback sessions give both you and your team a chance to check in on the KPIs and discuss areas of improvement. To wrap things up, I want to reflect on this. Each step in the staff journey is a building block for your center's overall success. From onboarding and skill building to relationship cultivation and feedback, these processes aren't just administrative tasks. They're opportunities to empower your team, inspire their best work, and ultimately create a childcare environment where children thrive and families feel at ease. By committing to this journey, you're setting the stage for a culture of care, growth, and collaboration. The paperwork is the least of the work involved in the staff journey. Staff journey is just that. It's a journey. It's not just those first few days. It's an ongoing process. It's ongoing checking in with them, using SMART goals and KPIs as a way to measure their performance and collaborate with them on where improvement might be made. And in doing so, you're developing a culture that lets each and every team member know that they are valued and they are encouraged to continue to develop. Development doesn't just stop when we stop being children, right? We continue to develop well into old age. And as someone who employs people to work with young people, it's imperative that we keep our eye on the ball and make sure that those who are caring for the children in our program are also receiving care and encouragement themselves. Thank you for tuning in to Care and Connect, the Childcare Leadership Podcast. Join us next time as we dive into strategies for nurturing family relationships. Until then, keep building, keep caring, and keep connecting. Thank you for joining me on this journey through this rewarding world of childcare leadership. Remember that we're all navigating this together. Whether you're feeling challenged or feeling motivated, know that when you take time to be the visionary of your program, you can elevate your center and ignite your passion. Until next time, I'm Debra Rinell, reminding you to take care of yourself with the same dedication you give to others.